Good evening. Welcome to the Special Kids Banquet. Thank you so much for rolling with the flow this year. Oh my goodness. Have we said that? How many times have you said that in the past several months? Well, this is another one of those evenings, but it's Special Kids, which makes it so very special. And we are dreaming big tonight. We can't wait to tell you all about what that means and what it means. The first thing off the bat is to celebrate and give thanks to the Lord for all that He has done. Because we could all sit around a circle tonight and it would be so therapeutic, wouldn't it? To be able to share what we've all walked through, and we'd all have a story. But through the stories, the endurance of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords will be what remains. We are grateful to Him and all that He has done and all that He is going to do. We are anticipating how God is going to continue to lead Special Kids, and He's going to use you and me to do that. That's a privilege. We're going to tell some of that story tonight, what He's been doing again and what He's going to do. Now, here's the thing. We're so grateful for you and for all of our sponsors. And I get really excited. And with the excitement, I talk about everything I love with this banquet. Every part of it. Every time you hear me say, that's my favorite part, I want you to make sure that you text to give, okay? Because it just is something that is part of what makes Special Kids Friend Raiser Banquet. See? One of my favorite parts, a special night. We'll tell you more about how you can do that. We've got a QR code and everything that we'll share with you here in just a few moments. But first, a few more thank yous. Bel Air Baptist Church, thank you so much for hosting us tonight, for making all of this possible. And then Murfreesboro Flower Shop, what a beautiful job you have done with the flowers. I mean, beautiful. And then Angela Pardue Photography. Sis, I see your stuff all over social media. Thank you so much for being part of this special night as we dream big with Special Kids. Well, we couldn't do it without our other sponsors as well. And our presenting sponsor tonight is Chick-fil-A of Murfreesboro. Tasty Table also helped us with the food. And our headlining sponsor is Old South Properties. Of course, we have our supporting sponsors. We want to talk about them and thank Murfreesboro Medical Clinic, Stanley Chiropractic, Peter and Kimberly Robertson. We have underwriting sponsors. Oh, did I forget to tell you, wherever you are tonight, make sure that you're clapping, because if we were together like we had hoped, we'd be clapping together. It's great to celebrate. So clap away for First Community Bank, one of our underwriting sponsors, HCA Healthcare, TriStar Health, Tasty Table. We have TriStar Title and Escrow, LLC, TDK Construction, Trail, Coleman and Stearns, PLLC, Volunteer State Bank. We have Wax Family Printing, Wilson Bank and Trust. When you're out in the community, if you would just make a mental note to say thank you to all of our sponsors. It's beautiful to have all of our local community come together. You and I are part of that tonight as we celebrate with Special Kids. We have a wonderful speaker to share with you. I can't wait to introduce him to you. If you have not yet met him, I bet you recognize him. But first, I want to introduce you to someone who is going to take up residence, a special place in your heart. I know you're going to love Javon.
God pointed out to me one day that just like when the Hebrews lived in Egypt and they were in the midst of the 10 plagues that God used Moses to bring about with Pharaoh and the Egyptians, during the plague of darkness, the word says that the darkness was so thick that they could feel it and the Egyptians couldn't move in or out or do anything for 3 days. But then God's word goes on and says that the Hebrews had light where they were, and they lived in the town of Goshen, and they're in Egypt. And so he's pointed out to me, as his people, we live in spiritual Goshen, where God provides the things that we need through his light, through his grace, his love, his mercy. And so we continue to see that daily here on our campus through our team members and how they love one another and how they love our families.
If I went in prayer, I said, Lord, there has to be a therapy place in Murfreesboro. Tell me more about campability and special kids. And I got back in my car, literally started crying because I know that I was in the right place. You know, he's a typical young man who is outgoing, wants to be involved in everything.
He has a huge personality, big contagious grin. I always look forward to seeing it every Monday. Very silly. He definitely brings out the kid in me.
We knew that in order for Javon to move on to bigger and better things, that he had to make these small accomplishments to get him to where he needs to be.
When I first started with him, handwriting was a big struggle, and shoe tying specifically. So fast forward to now, he is up copying 8-word sentences, and he is showing consistency in tying his own shoe. So we really worked hard with that. We tried a lot of different strategies, and we found one that stuck, and he's pushing through and he's doing it all by himself.
Yeah, I noticed Dakota being very welcoming, which kind of puts him a little bit more at ease. But I also noticed that she's firm too. Javon, that's not right. We didn't do that right, Javon. Let's do it again. Javon, you're cheating on me, aren't you? You know, and again, she says it in a way to where he knows when she's serious and he knows when she's joking around. So she always left and will leave him on a good note.
Doing his therapies, he's grown a lot. Not only as with his therapies, but as a young man, Javon has grown a lot, learned a lot.
He's very motivated to do things independently, and I think that is what has helped him progress in his goals in therapy. Those skills that we work on in therapy, we're also working on that overall independence.
Javon graduated from speech therapy this past year. This past year, huh?
Past year.
Okay, past year, Javon knows. He has accomplished all his milestones with speech therapy. For a moment, I felt lost, like, where do we go from this point?
Throughout COVID-19 and navigating the pandemic like we have had to do with the entire world over the last 18 months or so. Our team members, if I could use 2 words to describe them, it would be resilient and flexible.
COVID taught us that we can do more than just do what we need to do in person. You know, teletherapy is a great option. Therapists were able to assist Javon in PT, OT, as well as speech.
We really see the community as the fuel to our engine, and so we have been so tremendously blessed there and are greatly appreciative, because honestly, we could not do this without a loving, generous community.
Took my first tour of special kids somewhere in the 10 to 15 years ago. It just broke my heart. I mean, you know, see those kids struggling just to do tasks that we just take for granted every day. And then to even think about their parents that deal with this 24 hours a day, it was something I could get behind pretty easy. You know, there's a few things that an average guy can do to change lives, especially children's lives, and especially special needs children. Having this company that you get a certain amount of influence, whether you want it or you don't. Me jumping behind special kids and getting, you know, really behind the endowment fund, you know, I kind of got behind that in a big way, and I had no expectations or no limitations. So I've been dreaming big for a long time.
To dream big. I've always had big expectations for Javon. Doctors had tried to limit me on that, and I'm not allowing that to happen.
Dream big means to put all of those barriers aside and move forward with what you believe that you can do, and I really see that out of Javon.
Can he live by himself and be productive, own a job, drive a car, not mine, but a car, his? You know, can he do those things on his own without a lot of assistance? I know that it's possible for him as well. Where would we be without special kids? Oh my goodness, I don't know where we would be.
As we continue to serve and seek out God and fulfill the vision that He's given us, and dreaming about that and not walking in fear, but walking in faith and belief that God's going to continue to bring those things to fulfillment.
And aren't we just so, so thankful for those that have chosen to dream big, and we want you to partner with us tonight. Hi, my name is Beverly Davis. I've had the privilege and the honor of serving on the board of directors of Special Kids for several years now. Too many to count, really, at my age. But tonight, it is my honor again and my privilege that we are going to be able to recognize and commemorate an amazing milestone with Special Kids. Since 2015, we have followed the command from God to now grow, to grow. 1 Corinthians 3:7 says, "So neither he who plants nor he who sows is anything, but only God who makes things grow." And boy, have we grown. As you saw in the video, you saw a campus there that was not there several years ago. We've built a new therapy center through your support. We've remodeled the original nursing center, and we are now serving over 3 times more children each year than we did back in 2015. So we've grown, but what's next? Establish our roots. Got that growth, now we've got to establish the roots. So in 2016, some community leaders came together and said, you guys need to create an endowment fund where people can leave a lasting legacy. So through the help of Hubert McCullough, John Floyd, and others, we started that endowment fund, and John challenged us to set a goal of $2 million. Through your gifts, through your support, through your kindness, through your charity, through your love for the children, we have reached the goal of $2 million. And we are so appreciative and so thankful. But it doesn't stop there. We've got to continue to grow and establish our roots. Tonight's my honor to be able to award the first ever Ruby Award. This award has special meaning. It's to honor a precious child, a precious little young girl that was near and dear to John's heart and many others. Also, the Ruby Award stands for laying up our treasures in heaven. This is an ongoing annual award on behalf of the John D. Floyd Foundation so that future generations will know in perpetuity what this organization stands for and what the endowment fund is and what an integral part of it John Floyd has been. So it's my honor to present the award to John. John, we thank you so much. If you were here, I'd give you a big old hug. But I thank you so very much from the bottom of our hearts for how you have led us, how you have inspired us, how you have challenged us. And I'm a better person for having served on the committee with you. So we thank you again so very much. And now I'd like to introduce to you Miss Mary Elam Polk. Mary Elam is our board chair, has been for 2 years, and she has helped us so wonderfully navigate the waters of COVID. And Mary Elam, would you please share how Special Kids needs your help tonight?
Thank you, Beverly, and thank you, John. As Beverly just indicated, your gift to Special Kids, giving of your time and your treasures has just been completely impactful, especially with the endowment fund for years and years to come. Your mark will be made. Thank you. I'm sure just like myself, all of you were touched by Javon's story. What an amazing kid and an amazing family. You know, Special Kids is full of amazing kids and amazing families. Our staff at Special Kids is amazing as well. They serve our children each and every day, diligently and tirelessly, to help all of them meet their specific goals. This year alone, Special Kids has served over 400 children, and we anticipate serving another 150 children by the end of the year.
Our mission is simple. Our mission is to serve Jesus Christ through serving the children. You've heard our banquet theme tonight mentioned several times, to dream big. So at this time, we're asking for you to dream big with us, for you to dream big with Javon and his family, that one day he will drive that car, to dream big with our therapists as they help our children grow, to dream big with our staff as they plan for the future. Our big dream tonight is to reach a fundraising goal of $150,000, and we need your help. When you picked up your dinner tonight, you received an envelope, and on that envelope, it describes a couple different ways in which you can give. You can give a one-time donation to Special Kids or a monthly reoccurring donation. Just for example, a one-time $500 gift would serve to support the therapy of one single child for an entire month. You can also give tonight via text. Technology makes things so super easy on us. Simply by texting Banquet 2021 to the number 41444. And finally, if you're interested in partnering with us in the endowment fund, you can mark that on the envelope as well as you mail it in. And one of our members of our development team will reach out to you. As you can see, there are several ways in which you can financially support Special Kids tonight, and we appreciate your commitment and your presence with us here tonight. Matthew 7:7-8 simply states, "Ask, and you will receive. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and whoever seeks finds, and whoever knocks, the door will be opened." Tonight, I'm asking you to dream big with us. I'm asking you to partner with us and to give financially to Special Kids so that we are able to continue to serve the children put before us. At this time, we will take a brief pause for you to decide on your commitment and give to Special Kids tonight. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Mary Elam. Well, we're so excited about our next guest as well. You know, it's one of my favorite things. Let me remind you, if you are watching this and it is not yet 9 p.m. Central on the 26th of August, bid. It's time. Get those bids up there. You can actually just set them. You know how this works, yeah? You could set your bid really high, and then if somebody outbids you, no worries. We'll text you. We'll let you know, because we want to raise all of the funds that we can for Special Kids, and all of the proceeds from the auction tonight go directly to Special Kids. That's all because of generosity in our community and generosity from you. So thank you. And now, without further ado, if you have never met this gentleman, you need to put this on your list of things to do. He is an author. He is in the U.S. Hall of Fame for Olympians. Maybe you even saw him live in 1984 when he won the gold in Sarajevo. He dreams big, and he's just an all-around nice guy. Would you help me welcome? Remember, you can clap at home. Scott Hamilton.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a night. Oh, it's been amazing to meet so many wonderful people that support this incredible organization. But just that idea, just that aspirational idea of dream big. Now, it's kind of hard for me because I shop in the children's department, but that's okay because, there's always a bright side. Clothes are cheaper there. But dreaming big is kind of what this is all about. We all want to make a difference in this world. We all want to live lives that are special, abundant. We want to answer to our calling. We want to do all these things. And it's just the world just always finds ways of maybe pushing back, maybe creating greater challenges. But with the love of Jesus, we can all respond to those challenges by linking arms together and trying to make a difference in someone else's life. For those of you that don't know much about me, I was basically an unwanted and unintended child of a woman who really could have made other plans. But she stuck with it, brought me into the world, and immediately put me up for adoption. At the exact same time, there were two wonderful people in northwestern Ohio that desperately wanted to have a big family. They didn't really know what that was going to look like, but with each pregnancy, with each birth, tragedy soon followed, and it became time for them to make a different decision, and that was to adopt. So 6 weeks into my unintended life, I was brought home, wrapped in a cloth, just looking at my parents, my new parents, 6 weeks of age. I remember it like it was yesterday. They brought me home, showed me to my sister, who took one look at me, and she said, "He's not very cute. Can we trade him in for another baby?" Oh, through a little therapy and time, we've gotten past that now. But it was growing up in this family where my mother was just, the center of my universe. We all really just want a parent that just pours into us, that dreams big, that just sacrifices everything so that we can live our lives joyfully, abundantly, and in service, right? So here's the deal. When you're a birth child, it comes with expectation, right? If you're in academia, you expect your child to be really smart. If you're in athletics, you really feel like your child's probably going to be interested in sports. When you're an adopted child, it's kind of like, let's just see what happens. So growing up in this family was, really fun. There was never like, no, it was just, let's just see what happens. Let's put him, but this is the best way to explain it. You know that counter that's in your kitchen, parents, that your kids run under all the time? That one, and that one day they're going to grow just enough that they're going to expect to go under that counter and they're going to bash their head. Well, that never really happened to me. I kept sailing underneath the counter, and after an extended period of time, they realized I think we have a problem here. But as an adoptive child, you don't really know what the health history is. You don't know how big we're supposed to be. We just don't know. And so they kept an eye on me, and after a little while longer, I was showing incredible signs of stress. I wasn't growing, I wasn't developing, I wasn't digesting food properly. I was suffering. And so it was there that my adventure began in a new way, and that was going from hospital to hospital to hospital to hospital to try to find a source of my problem and to get me back in with all the other kids who were really active, that were growing, that were able to handle the workload that I was too weak and too sick to handle. Well, first hospital, they couldn't find anything. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They knew something was there, but they didn't know exactly what it was. Second hospital, I always say that there were bigger hospitals with bigger doctors. No diagnosis there. Then we went to a bigger hospital, and it was there that they sat my parents down and they said, "We don't know what's going on. We thought it was this, but it wasn't. And we want to just brace you for the trajectory that we really feel like he may only have 6 months to live." Now, why is it always 6 months? So it's like, here's my mom. She just smiled and took one look at the doctor, and she said, "Thank you for your time, and thank you for pouring so much into my son, but we're leaving now." We went to the biggest hospital with the biggest doctors, Boston Children's Hospital. And it was there that we met an amazing man. His name was Dr. Harry Schwachman. And I had every symptom of Shwachman-Diamond syndrome. And I'm being seen by the man himself who found and diagnosed this illness. And I had every symptom. And we thought, finally, we have an answer. We can move forward. And it was after several trips to Boston and many overnight stays that Dr. Schwachman sat my mother down and he said, we don't know what this is. We thought it was Shwachman-Diamond syndrome, but it's not. We don't have the ability to diagnose what's going on. There's something wrong and we don't know what it is. All we can do is give you some advice, and that's go home, live a normal life, and see what comes next. And it was there that I was on all these restrictive diets. I wasn't allowed to have flour or dairy or sugar. So really, birthday parties weren't a lot of fun. But getting this news from Dr. Schwachman of go home and live a normal life meant that now I could have birthday cake for the first time in memory. And it was like, when? We didn't know what was wrong still. I was still suffering. I wasn't growing. And I was, there was no hope for the future. There was only the idea that we are now going to live day to day to day and take whatever life brings to us. The stress was unbelievable on my mom and my dad, and we got home and they kept me on this supplement, okay? This is the 60s now, okay? I'm old. But in that time, there was a supplement, and every time I tell this, the glass gets bigger. The glass was about this big and about that big around, and in it was my supplement. Now, if you go to any pharmacy these days, you'll see that they have like flavor of the month, and it's usually like, cherry or bubblegum or grape. Flavor of the month for my supplement was chalk. And it wasn't like chocolate chalk or vanilla chalk. It was chalk. It was awful. And every day I have to drink this glass it gets bigger, see? No, it was really about like that. And it forced me to become a liar. Mom, I'm going to choke, I know, because it's awful. Can I drink it in the bathroom in case I gag? Of course, honey. And just dump it out and take a little and put it here. And then, oh, that was awful. Why do you make me do this? And it's like, for all we know, this is the only thing keeping you alive. And I go, okay, well, this is, it's terrible. And so finally, as kids, we just get sloppy. And I was doing what I always do, pouring it out. My mom was like, hi, Mom. And she cold busted. She said, you have to drink this. I will not. You have to drink this. I will not. You have to drink this. For all we know, it's the only thing keeping you alive. Very dramatic. And so I just said no. And so our family doctor came over, and he had a couple things that he was going to present to us that day. Number one, he said, let's fix this supplement thing. So what they did, it was really cool. They put a tube up my nose, down my esophagus, and they would feed me my supplement through the tube so I never had to taste it again. And then, and it was the best thing. When I wasn't using the tube, I would tape it to the side of my face and kind of put it over my ear. Perfect. The other thing he had, he said my parents were shattered, exhausted, done. This is 4 years of a sick child. 4 years. And there was no answer. There was no anything except this impending, like day to day, are we going to get through another day? And so he had another recommendation. He told my parents they needed a morning off. And they're like, what does that look like? It's like, we've got these kids and we're ready. What does a morning off look like? And he said, there's a brand new facility at the university where they open it up to children every Saturday morning from 8 to noon, and they teach them how to ice skate. He'll be totally supervised. It's very safe. And he'll just give you a morning off. And so I show up at the rink the first day, and I walk in, and there's like 120 well kids. And it's like, I was used to sick kids because I was around sick kids all the time, but I'd never seen so many well kids. And it's like, whoa, this is so cool. And they took one look at me, and they're like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, what do you mean? And they go, that thing coming out of your nose, what's wrong with you? And I go, wait a minute. You've never been fed through your nose before? It's like, come on, who's the weird one here? Really? And so I knew I was different. I knew that things were different. And so I'd get on, I got on skates, and then I'd let go of the wall, and I'd hang on and let go and hang on. And pretty soon I was able to let go all the way, and I could skate all the way around the ice. And then soon after that, I realized that I could skate as well as the well kids. And then after a few more weeks, I realized that I could skate as well as the best athlete in my grade. And it went like this. It was like, man, that first taste of self-esteem, of the power that I can do something with my life, something special, something unique, and I could do it as well or better than anyone my age, as well as the well kids, was like the most powerful thing that ever happened to me. And my parents had to threaten me to get me off the ice. I couldn't get enough. I wanted to be there all the time. It became my whole world. And sooner than later, my belly started to flatten, and I started to develop muscles in my legs, and I started to grow again. It was a miracle. And now my mom was thinking nothing else worked except skating. That's all he's going to do is skate. We're going to skate. We're going to skate all the time. We're going to skate. And they became very involved in the rink. They became very involved in the club. My mom was a test chairman, which meant she had to know the favorite drink of every judge so that all the tests would pass, because they like coming to her test sessions. And my dad built props for the ice shows. And it was just this amazing thing. And then the dreams started. The big dreams started. My mom would say, oh, he's in figure skating, and that's an Olympic sport. Like, maybe someday we're going to the Olympics. And it's like, Mom, there's no way I'm going to the Olympics. And I'd go, and I'd fail tests, and I'd get really sad, and she would build me up, and she would pour into me, and she'd say, you'll get him next time. And I'd go to competitions, and I'd do okay regionally, and then I get into like more sectional, and it was like, and then I finally made it to the national level, and that really didn't go very well at all. My first nationals on the novice men's level, there was 17,500 people in the audience there to see Janet Lynn skate later in the night, who was the most popular woman athlete in the world at that time. And it was her last nationals, so there was a lot of interest. And I stepped on the ice, and I saw 17,500 people, and I couldn't feel my feet or my legs. And I managed to rise to the occasion 5 times. I fell 5 times in my 3-minute program. How do you fall 5 times in 3 minutes? Well, I came in dead last, and I was devastated, but my mom was there to pour into me, to hug me, and to tell me everything was going to be okay. Went back the next year, only fell twice. Came in last again. I wasn't very good. And then the next year, I actually went up to the junior level, where I was able to beat 2 guys at the nationals. And it was there my mom came to me, and she said, family meeting. And I said, what's a family meeting? And she said, okay, everybody. All right. I've just come from the doctor, and I've been diagnosed with a disease called cancer. Now, what this means is I'm going to have some medicine that may not make me feel good, and I'm probably going to have maybe some surgeries later on. But I'm just going to need some help around the house. And I want you to do this, I want you to do that. And then she looked at me and she said, and you, mister? And I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, we're basically bankrupt from all this skating for all these years, and we can get you through one more year, your senior year in high school, and then you can go to university next year. And I said, yes, ma'am. And so I went back to my training place in Illinois, and I worked a little harder because I knew that this was my last year. And I got to the nationals, and my mom was there with a sling on because they'd taken her left breast and most of the inside of her left arm, and I could see that she was in pain, and she was wearing a wig because she lost all of her hair to the chemotherapy, and she was smiling the whole time. And I said, are you okay? And she goes, I am great. And I said, is it the drugs they have you on? Is that what's doing this? And she goes, no, you just skate. We'll be fine. and we'll talk afterwards about what's next. And I said, great. So I finally landed a triple about a week before that competition for the very first time. And I'm like, okay, bucket list, check. I landed a triple. And my coach put it in the program, but he didn't want me to warm it up before I went out to skate because, as he said, we don't really want to know if it's there or not. We just don't warm it up. We'll just put it in the program. And I said, well, that's fine because it's my last competition ever. And so I'll just see what happens. So I land my first jump, and it was very nice. And I go around for this triple Salchow, and it's like, my last competition, I might as well throw it. And I threw this thing into the air. And normally my view at the end of my hardest jump in the program would be this, because I'm on my butt. But I was standing there like this, and it was like, I just landed my first triple. Basically, I got so excited I forgot to screw up the rest of my program. And I won junior nationals. And the reason my mom was so happy was because there was a sponsor waiting for me on the other side of that competition. Wealthy couple that did not want to see me lose my dream because of a lack of funds when they had plenty. So they poured into me. And the next year, I went to the nationals, and I call it the trifecta. I was sponsored, I turned 18, and I got my own apartment. It was awful. I didn't know how to do that. And I went to the nationals, and I came in 9th again. And it was the last time my mother would ever see me skate. The morning we lost her, I was sleeping on the couch in the family room, and my brother-in-law at the time came in and said, your mother is gone. And all I could think to say was, I know. So I went for a walk in our backyard, and I just wanted to know how to do this without her. My dream big person in my life. And I walked, and I finally figured it out. I'm going to take her with me wherever I go. And I'm going to try to honor her in everything that I do. And I would show up with a little more intensity, and I would never miss a session, and I would do my long program run-throughs no matter how I felt, because I needed to honor her. And it was just months later, I go back to the nationals. I came in 3rd and then 11th at the World Championships. One decision, to honor my mother. 2 years later, I'm on the Olympic team. And then after that Olympics, for the next 4 years, I never lost a competition, fueled by my mother's love and sacrifice. We don't know what's going to come into our lives. We know that the people that populate them can truly make a difference in everything that happens to us. Everything. Everything. And when we lean into the Lord and we listen to Him and His life-affirming word, we know that everything ultimately is going to be okay if we depend on Him and just listen to what He wants for us. Like I listened to my mom and what she wanted for me. She sacrificed everything, never bought clothes for herself, never did anything. It all went to her children, and I was the biggest sacrifice. So when I see the parents that are pouring into these children that need help, like my mom needed help, I'm really convicted that incredible things can happen. Incredible things can happen, like Javon. Incredible things are happening. He's now able to dream big because he can see his path forward thanks to Special Kids and the services they so brilliantly provide. We cannot do this alone. None of us. We need help. We need support. We need others pouring it. We need to be community. We need to be that person that can pour into somebody else's life and make a difference. My sponsors that took over the financial part of my life when my parents could no longer, became like parents to me. And they taught me many things. And they showed me what it feels like to give of myself, to give to others, to try to make their lives better. It wasn't a gift that they gave me. There was no strings attached. It was just investing in me so that I could reveal the best part of myself. As you can invest in special kids, and as they can invest in the families they serve, to reveal the hope, the promise, and the potential of a life fully lived. Wouldn't that feel good? Everything about my story is unlikely. Everything about it spells defeat, disappointment, disaster. I mean, I've had cancer and I'm on my third brain tumor. It's a hobby of collecting life-threatening illness that I do not recommend. Coins and stamps are much easier and better, less painful. But it's about that. It's about putting one foot in front of the other in hope, dream, aspiration to maybe live life a little better tomorrow than I did today. And you can make all of that possible. So as I stand before you, about to finish, some of you will be grateful for that. I'm here to tell you that hope lives. Hope lives. And when you listen to Romans 5, it talks about suffering. These families, in many respects, are suffering until they come to special kids. But suffering produces endurance, character, hope. Pretty powerful stuff. Won't you invest in your community, in these children that so desperately need your help? Because if somebody didn't invest in me, I wouldn't be standing here proudly, happily, gratefully, joyfully, abundantly. Make that choice. God bless you all.
Thank you, Scott Hamilton, for showing up and helping us at Special Kids to dream big. I told you, he makes such a difference in his community because he believes everything he just shared with us tonight. If you win one of the auction items, if you're still bidding as you see this, that would be great. 9 p.m. Central tonight, we'll close the auction down. If you're still bidding, if you would, pick that up tomorrow at Special Kids. It's 9 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. They'll be there to give that to you. And if you can't make it, it's okay. They're nice people. They'll be glad to make arrangements so you can come by another time and pick it up. You can still give. I love those QR codes. I'm getting pretty good at those. And while you think about that and pray it through, let me introduce you to, you know this guy, don't you? The Executive Director of Special Kids. Chris, will you close us in prayer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Dawn Ray. Scott, thank you for that touching story and your time with us tonight. Bow with me, please. God, thank you for who you are. Thank you for this wonderful community that you've placed us in, to dream big with us and to invest in us as we invest into the families and care for them like we've seen with Jovan's story tonight, and we just pray blessings over him and his family. God, we pray that for our nation's leaders right now, we pray for all the families being affected with so many things going on right now. But one thing is for sure, is that you are still on your throne and that you love us and that you care for us. And your word says that you do indeed see trouble and grief and take it in hand. And so let us rest in that. Let us receive peace from that. But we pray that peace and mercy and love over the families at Special Kids and over our team members as well. But again, thank you for our investors. Thank you for the way that you show us your love through them in our community, God. And we wrap up this night by giving all this praise and honor and glory to your Son, Jesus. Amen.